In today's video we're going to look at a concept in Excel called absolute referencing. To show you what I mean, I'm going to first show you the default behavior of Excel. So if you look at these three blue cells, I'm going to use them to write a formula. So I'm going to put, say, the number 5 in there and in there, and here I want to add them up. So I'm going to say this is equal to C4 plus C10. Quite simple, it gives you the answer you expect. So 5 plus 5 is 10. So what will happen if I copy this formula and I paste it into this cell as a formula and I get 0? So what happened here? To show it to you graphically, I have just recreated this screen. So what happens now, when you add up 10, you go left to C10 and then up to C4. So if you copy this formula and you paste it here, what will happen now, it's what's called relative referencing. So rather than going back to C10 and C4, it rather goes from this cell left 4 and up 2, and it will give you these two cells which are currently blank, which is why you get nothing in there. So how do you solve this problem? And that's where absolute referencing comes in. So let's show you again. If we go to this cell, the way you fix to C10 is just by putting the dollar sign in front of the letter and the number of the cell, and I'll do it on this side as well. I'll put the dollar sign in there and press enter. So now if I copy this and I paste the formula in here, you'll get the same answer because it is linked to those two cells. I'm just going to take it out to show you another option, so I'll take it out of here. So remember we had C10 plus C4. I manually typed in those dollar signs to make it fix the referencing, but what you can also do is, after you've typed the formula, if you click inside a cell reference and press the F4 key, you'll see you'll automatically get the dollar signs you need. And I'll do it for the second cell as well. Press F4, you'll see it puts the two dollar signs in, and press enter, and now that the formula is fixed. So if I copy it there and there, you don't have to do this afterwards. So let me delete it once again. If you know you are going to need it, you can use it while you're creating the formula. So if I say equal C10, and before I click anything else, I press F4, then it puts the dollar signs, and then you plus, and you select the next cell and select F4 and enter. So this is what's called absolute referencing. So those references to those two cells will never change, doesn't matter where you copy the formula to. So now in this example, you see I have locked both the column and the row, so it will stick to one cell. Sometimes you will need it to be moving. So let's look at the next example. In this example we have a commission here. So what we want to do is say is the commission is 5% of the sales. What we want to say, this is equal to the sales multiplied by the commission rate, and you'll get your commission. If I now just drag this down, it will fill up and you'll get the error again, and that is because we have the same issue of relative referencing as I explained before. So now what you should do is say this is equal to the sales multiplied by the commission rate, and here's where I press F4 and you'll notice that two dollar signs in the formula. I press enter, and now if I drag this down, everything will work as expected. So this is a very useful functionality in Excel and can save you a lot of repetitive work. So as I said before, sometimes you don't want to lock the column and the row. So now I'll show you an example of where that would happen. So in here, this is something you might remember from school, is a times table. So what I want in each of these cells is the product of multiplying this row by this column. So if I do the first one, I'll say this is equal to that multiplied by the column, and you get 1. But obviously if I drag this out, I will get very weird answers, and this is because of the relative referencing. So let's take this out. If I use absolute referencing, this won't quite work either. So if I say this is equal to D4, press F4 multiplied by C5, press F4, press enter, so you get the right answer there. The issue is going to be once you drag it, you're always going to get 1 because now it's linked permanently to those two cells. So let's see what we should do. Going back to the cell, if I say now this is equal to, let's start with the column. This is the first thing I want to multiply, but in this case I want it always to stick to column C but not necessarily to row 5. So if I press F4, you'll see the $2 signs. In this case now it will lock to column C and row 5. If I press it again, now you see it will always stick to row 5 but it won't stick to the column. And if I press F4 again, you see now it will stick to column C. So this is what we want in this case. Multiply this by the top, and here we want the opposite. So if I press F4 once, it will lock permanently in row and column. If I select it again, stick to row 4 but not to column D. If I press enter now, our formula will work and we don't have to retype anything. We can simply drag it over. That's correct. Drag it down, and that's correct. So this is something I really suggest you get used to using, so that you can, especially in formulas, save yourself a lot of repetitive work. One last thing I wanted to show you is, remember, if I was on any cell, let's go here and say this is equal to, select a cell. So what I haven't shown you before, if you press F4, you'll lock the row and the column. Press it again and you'll see only the row gets locked, and press it again and only the column gets locked. If you press it one more time, it will take all the dollar signs away, and now it is a relative reference again. So by pressing F4 continuously, you can cycle through the different option of what should be locked, row, column, or both, or none. And that is how you can use relative referencing. Very useful if you can get used to it. Hi, this is Anton from the Data Developer channel. If you've liked this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up below and subscribing to the channel. And thank you for watching.